What's going on, guys? It's Cimoooooooo. So today we're posing the question, should you buy Mystic Fighters? Nope. Well guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time. So typically on the Thursday when a brand new set is released, I head on down to my local game store, pick up a box, bring it back here, and unbox it on camera for you guys to enjoy. Maybe you can't afford buying a booster box of your own, so that way you can live vicariously through my videos, or maybe you just like watching someone open booster packs, and that's just what you enjoy. And you know, honestly, sometimes it can be fun, but you always know I'm gonna tell you guys to buy the singles. But this is going to be a very different instance, because I did not decide to go down to my local game store and pick up a box today, solely due to the fact that I think this set is absolutely horrendous, and I want to go ahead and describe why. So for those of you guys who do not know, Mystic Fighters is a deck building set, which is a side set. It's not one of the four main core sets that we get over the course of a year. This is something kind of along the lines of Infinity Chasers or Dark Saviors or Secret Forces, and to be fair, sometimes these sets can be absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look in the context of Secret Forces. There was like 3 viable, I don't want to say all of them were tier 1, but Necros was like one of the best decks ever made, and Ritual Beasts were tier 1 for a time, and then you had Yosenju in that set as well, which was probably rogue, but at least it was like competitively viable. Then you've got stuff like Sky Strikers coming out of Dark Saviors, and then you've got, a lot of other losers in some of the other side set deck build sets. But in any case, a deck build set is meant to contain 3 different archetypes, and then you kind of have all the cards you typically need, although that's usually not the case, let's be honest, but more so than like regular core sets where a lot of the cards are spread across multiple sets. Usually you can get about like 30 to 35 of the cards you need for a given deck in one of these particular products. Now, it's still randomized, don't get me wrong. You still need to make sure you pull the proper cards, but at least in terms of like the archetype density within the product, you don't have to buy like 4 different sets to acquire all the cards you need. You can buy one set multiple times and usually get there. Well, at least in, a optimistic sense, that is. Now, I first want to describe the 3 archetypes that are in this product. We have the Dragon Maids, we have the Generators, and we also have the Mechs. So starting with the Dragon Maids are an interesting archetype that kind of fall between aggro and control, because they can kind of play both roles like in an okay sense. They do a very good job at swarming the field. A lot of people compare them to the modern day Gladiator Beast because they have a certain tag out mechanic, but the thing is, when you really start to play around with this archetype, it doesn't really do anything. Yeah, it can get a bunch of monsters on the board, but like the monsters themselves don't really do anything. This archetype doesn't really put up much of a fight, and a lot of decks really don't have trouble when it comes to dealing with the Dragon Maids, so it's a pretty lackluster archetype overall. I know there's some fan service with like the lore and the etymology behind the archetype, but overall, I think from a playability standpoint, this one, at least for me, is a bit of a miss. Then we have the Generators, and talking about being a miss, this is one of the weirdest and arguably one of the most horrific archetypes that has ever been made by modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Standards. The Generators are a rank 9 control deck that kind of fall in the category of glass cannon, because they can get to rank 9s fairly easily, and when you think rank 9, you think true king of all calamities, but then the issue is if you can get to that calamities and if your opponent can out it, which again by modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Day standards isn't the hardest thing to do, then the deck kind of falls apart and it's really not too difficult to defeat. The deck is just very awkward. It has a heavy reliance on the field spell, and again, from a playability perspective, isn't the most impressive. And then the third, and at least in my book, what I feel to be the most optimistic of the 3 archetypes are the Mechs. Now, the Mechs are an aggressive deck that do a very good job at OTKing, and there's actually a bit of a very budget OTK deck that you can build by playing the Mechs, and I think that's pretty cool that there is an archetype like this that has a very cheap price point, at least in theory, that way you can, take to your locals or even a regionals, maybe in the form of something like Crusadia, or some of the going second OTK decks you see of today. Mechs are kind of just built to do this especially, and just one-shot your opponent with their boss monsters. So again, I don't think they're the most impressive archetype, but at least they have have like a solid win condition, and at least by competitive standards, they actually have a shot at doing something. So that's my first issue with this set. You have two archetypes that are completely lackluster, and then you have a third archetype which is like basically the equivalent to the Yosenju of this product, but if Yosenju was the best archetype in the Secret Forces. Do you feel like there's an issue there? Especially now that we're at the point where a lot of people are feeling that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is stale, when we've had Sky Striker around for over a year and a half, Salamangreat and Thunder Dragon and all these other decks have been around for quite some time, and people are feeling the game is getting a little bit stale. These decks have zero chance to take on some of the top contenders, and I think that is a huge misstep when it comes to this product. My second issue with this product is when it comes to the reprints. Now, obviously, these sets are going to have a handful of reprints, and when you think reprints, that sounds pretty good, but when you look at the actual contents of the reprints, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Now, I will give credit because we do have reprints such as Fire Fist Dragon, which should have been in Infinity Chasers or whatever deck building set actually had the Fire Fist in them, which for whatever reason it wasn't, but it should have been in there, but I guess they wanted to help sell this set, so that's probably why it's in here. They also have a super rare upgrade of Balancer Lord, which doesn't see the light of day, but it actually has synergy with the Math Mechs, so like, that's fine. If you're gonna rarity bump like semi-playable cards, I guess that's a good thing. And you know what? They actually just did bring off Tempest as well as Super Rejuve off the latest ban list, so giving them super rare printings is actually pretty okay as well. However, when you look at all the other reprints in here, it's just the most random selection of cards you could possibly imagine, and some of them are like mildly playable, but probably haven't seen play in several years. And then you've got stuff like Appropriate, Dragon's Gunfire. Like, why are these cards in here? No one has played with these cards since like 2004, and yet you're giving them reprints in a product in 2019. That doesn't make any sense. There could have been two good reprints in the place of Dragon's Gunfire and Appropriate, but someone thought it was the wise idea to put these cards in here because they thought it was, you know, a desperately needed reprint, I suppose, or because, you know, there's Dragon Maids, Dragon's Gunfire just goes with it, you know, significantly. I don't know, but to me, that makes absolutely no sense. And then the third and final and probably biggest issue that I take when it comes to Mystic Fighters as a whole is the short print issue. Now, I think it's sad that we've gotten to the point where we kind of just accepted that short prints exist and that the game is rigged against you, which is why I always tell you guys to buy the singles, because yes, in theory, you always have a 1 in 8 chance of getting a secret rare in a core set, but if it's short printed, it's not actually statistically like that, and you have a much lesser chance of getting that specific card than you may think. And the short print, especially when it comes to these particular side sets, these deck building sets in particular, they have just been absolutely horrific as of late. Just think of the last few deck building sets we've had and how big of a deal these short prints have been, and question, why does it have to be like this? And the thing is, typically when it comes to short printing, it might just be like the chase card of the set, or maybe like the 2 chase cards of the set. But for this set, when there's such little desirability, what did they end up doing? They ended up short printing cards from each of the specific archetypes that are probably the most significant of each one. Remember how I said generators are highly reliant on the field spell? Well, guess what they short printed? The field spell. There's like 2 to 3 cards from each of the archetypes in this product that are short printed and are pretty much necessary for these decks to function altogether. And it really shouldn't come as a surprise, the most short printed card of all is the Prime Math Mech Alimbertion, which is the rank 4 for Math Mechs, which is actually generic and actually has a pretty strong effect because it can actually search monsters or spells and traps, which seems pretty good in theory, but the fact that it just instantly loses to an Ash Blossom after committing 4 of your monsters into making it, then it doesn't seem too hot. And again, of course, since this is the chase card, keep in mind I'm using that term term loosely, and of course, that is the most short printed of all. I got that information from House of Champs, who got his information from shop owners who have opened multiple cases of this product and provided us with their ratios. I think what bugs me the most about this is that not only is this hurting the player base, it also hurts the store owners who are going to get and pre-order several cases of this product hoping to sell it, because the thing is, if people are not excited about the set, they're not going to buy it, which I'm a prime example of this right here, and they're not going to go out and get it, and then the store owners are going to end up getting stuck with this product for years and years to come because it wasn't any good. And I think that's doing a disservice to the store owners by basically having them pre-order a product several months in advance, hoping that it's going to sell, and then sticking them with it because the product ended up being utter trash. So ultimately, when it comes down to should you buy Mystic Fighters, I'm not going to tell you guys how to spend your money, but just know that the odds are stacked against you when you've got 3 rather lackluster archetypes, when you've got reprints that have a lot to be desired, and not to mention the short prints that are stacking the odds in your favor that you're actually going to get what you want. This is why I always tell you guys to buy the singles, because you're always getting exactly what you want, you know what you're getting, and not to mention, once this product gets opened in mass, the prices of these cards are going to tank significantly. Go look at the prices of these cards now online and check back 2 weeks later, and I guarantee you they will be a fraction of what they currently are. And then you know what? If you actually want to get the Dragon Mage, or you want to get the Math Mechs or the Generators or whatever you are interested in, then that's fine. At least I'll feel comfortable knowing that you got it for a much cheaper price because you bought the singles. And I will say that, you know, if you are going to, you can help support the channel by using my TCG Player affiliate link. There's no pressure, but it does help support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything else. But this is why I bring you guys these videos, because I want you guys to be informed about the purchases that you're making, because honestly, if I don't feel that you guys should be purchasing this product, then I'm not going to purchase it either. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Mystic Fighters. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.